Yeah. I feel like Tony, I'm a bad guy. Stingy cook cause I'm a bad guy. All I hang around is bad guys. All I hang around is bad guys. You play with this shit, you get whacked. I pull up and shoot at your neck. My clip longer than my leg. I don't want fuck, I want hack. Ooh, that done got me back started. Ooh, that done got me back started. Ooh, that done got me back started.
What up, good people? In this video, I'm gonna show you how I did a beat for Bad Guy with Bino and 21 Savage. There's also another version out there called Back Started, I believe. I have nothing to do with that, and that's a whole nother story in itself. But I'm gonna just tell you a little bit backdrop in terms of how the whole song came together. I'm cool with Bino through my guy Bags. Me and Bags, we got a bunch of records together. We've been working for years now, and we still got some more stuff coming soon. But Bino was asking Bags. Bino's cool with Bags, and he was asking Bags, who was doing his production and his engineer, and he told him me, and me and Bino linked up, and Bino's cool with 21, and so that's how we ended up linking up for the record. But I just say all that just to kind of tell you about kind of building your own stuff and working with artists that you believe in and that you like, and how it can lead to work with other artists and bigger names and bigger artists. So I just wanted to give you that little story. But yeah, we'll get into this. So obviously you can see I'm working at Ableton. I used to work in Fruity Loops. That's how I started off. Like I love Fruity Loops, but once I was introduced to Ableton, shout out my guy Super. Yeah, he's the one who showed me Ableton. But once I got into Ableton, I was just like, man, I can't go back. Just for me, that's just it would just help my workflow, just getting ideas out. For me, it was easy. But yeah, with the beat, I started. Usually, I like to try to start with melody. I'm not particular about shit like that. I'm not like, oh, I got to start with melody or anything like that. I'm not particular. But in this case, I'm pretty sure I started with the melody, and I like to do a lot of like modifying and tweaking, try to make shit sound like its own. I don't want to be able to somebody to be able to easily recreate the beat I make. And to some extent, I can't even recreate this beat. And I'll show you. I started off with this electro sound. And then from there, I turned it into, and I don't know how I turned it into this. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what my processing was. I may have did some kind of time stretching or pitching down, but I know I ended up reversing it. But I turned it into this. So from there, I took that and I reversed it, and I put camel space on there. This is a plugin that I like to use a lot, especially like if I got a sample or something that I just want to add some processing to, just kind of tweak, do some weird stuff with. It's one of the plugins I like to go to. Like especially if you're going for like one of those chopped gated kind of effects, this makes it real easy to do it. But it also has some other stuff on there, filters, auto pans, flanger, delay, reverb. But yeah, got some other stuff on there, and it just makes it easy to kind of do a quick modifier, just add some quick processing. But like another plugin I also like to use is like Effectrix or Sugar Bytes, made from Sugar Bytes. But there's a whole bunch of plugins you can do. But yeah, I put that on there. after I reversed it, and we came out with this. So from there, I'm pretty sure I think I went to the 808. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I went to the 808. And an important thing with this 808 pattern right here is, like, I kept it on the same note pretty much for the most part. I kept it on this A right here. Like, even this E that you see here is actually a pitch bend. So still hitting A. But important thing though is to have movement. Try to have some type of movement with your 808s. Sometimes it sounds okay. You can just keep hitting it on that note or whatever. But a lot of times, if that's the case, I try to do something to add some movement. And especially towards, towards the latter part of, your second bar and your 4 bars, I usually try to add something there. You know what I mean? And then from there, we went into kick and snare. Yeah. Kick and snare. And hi-hats. Main thing with my kicks and my 808 patterns, a lot of times if I do that 808 pattern first, for the most part, I'll keep the kick right on there. I'll keep the kick like on it as the exact same pattern as my 808. But sometimes I don't. So it's just use your ears, just go for the right feel. That's what I do with anything, even production and engineering. I didn't even realize I don't do this shit anymore. But I apparently I use 2 kicks, which actually kind of makes sense in terms of my processing, because I think I wanted the kick to punch out a little bit more. So I also did some side chaining on the 808. I don't side chain my 808 and my kick. I rarely do that. Sometimes it's necessary, but just use your ear, because if you have to side chain your 808 and your kick, a lot of times you just might not have the right sound selection. You might have the wrong 808, you might have the wrong kick, you might have wrong both, But just use your ears. Sometimes a little side chaining is all you need. So I did side chain my 808 with the kick. And excuse me if you're not familiar with side chaining. That's just when you have a signal from another audio source being sent to your compressor. So like this 808, the compressor is on the 808 and the signal is being sent from the kick. So I don't have a lot of gain reduction on the side chaining, and that's just because I don't like the effect a lot of times that it has with side chaining, especially if your timing isn't right. So I try to be very gentle with it, just enough so I can get that extra, just a little bit of extra room for the kick that I need for it to kind of punch through and come through in the mix. So from there, obviously I did hi-hats. So I have 2 hi-hats. I don't want to say 2 hi-hats, but 2 like main steady hi-hats. That's like my bounce hi-hat right here, which you can kind of see like I have alternating velocities, and it just kind of helps to give it a little bounce. And I don't even think they're quantized the full way. Yeah, look. So that's another thing too in terms of giving your hi-hats some bounce is don't put them directly on the grid. Like you might want to have them off just a little bit. You got to have some type of human feel. That's that's very important. I know a lot of people like to super quantize everything. I hate that. You just have to know which things you need to quantize and you don't. Hi-hats, there's some liberty there. Kick and snare, you might want to be a little bit strict on, unless you like on some boom bap type East Coast. And then chords, I definitely don't quantize. If I'm playing chords, I need that texture. Matter of fact, I'll actually show you some of that a little bit later in this video. But yeah, that's just a little producer tip, that you don't necessarily have to quantize everything, depending on what kind of feel you're going for. So after that hi-hat, I did the second hi-hat. Shit. So, and in that hi-hat, that's like the movement hi-hat. That gives the beat more movement, and it gives added energy as well. Like that's the important thing a lot of times with your hi-hats, is that you just want movement, and you just want energy. For me, I kept the pattern fairly same. There's certain parts where you almost always want movement, like in your beats, like towards the end of your like second bar, like the end of your second bar pattern, your end of your 4-bar pattern. Those certain spots, like you want movement, or you want a change, or at least a lot of times there's opportunity for that movement or that change. So just something to keep in mind. And then from there, obviously I put in these open hi-hat and a ride. So from there, that's the bulk of the beat. I know from there, I know that's most likely gonna end up being, when I made it, I know that was gonna end up being the verse, or most of the verse, So I when I was making a beat, when I did this, when I got to this part, when I got to that part, I had the whole beat in my head for the most part, like. And then the biggest thing is when you can get to that stage where you feel like you have the whole beat in your head, the biggest thing is getting that shit out. And that can be difficult, but just getting it out as fast as possible. The longer you wait, the less likely it's going to sound like the shit in your head. So I had this sound from Dune. Like I knew I was going to play this. And it's, I have all my stuff frozen, obviously, because I'm using it from another system. But I went and I used the below lead from the factory presets. And this is what it sounds like. So all together, the drums and the 808. When I got to that part, I was like, okay. I was like, all right, we got something. So like for me, the beat has a very hard trap, kind of hard, creepy kind of feel. So and staying with that theme, that vibe, I ended up playing this from Spire. My thing with Spire and Dune, these two plugins, I like them. I love the sounds in there, but they're crazy CPU intensive. So even if I wasn't doing this tutorial or beat breakdown, I would still most likely freeze these because they're just they're that CPU intensive that a lot of times it can end up messing up your workflow. But staying in that theme, I ended up playing this. And it's simple. It's nothing. It's nothing elaborate that I'm playing right now. But just simple stuff that just kind of adds to the vibe, and just kind of the energy that we're trying to create. So that's pretty much the beat right there. From there, only main thing I really did for is the second half of the hook. I wanted to add some energy so it didn't stay stale. That's kind of a theme. You don't want your shit to stay stale. You need movement. So one thing I did was I added some claps. I added like a clap pattern, like one of those. And these claps that I have, I don't have them in my drum kit that I have available for sale, but I will be making them available in my next drum kit. But they're all real claps and are well recorded. Like you could tell, like it's not just one person clapping, and the they're well recorded. That's the main thing, and they sound real. They have texture. But yeah, I added those claps. I added that clap pattern, and I added this bell. Super simple, nothing crazy. But adding that bell though is, staying consistent with the theme and the energy of the track. So altogether, here's how the hook sounds. All right. And then from there, only thing that I added was the intro. And when I did this, I don't think I necessarily had in mind that I was like, oh, this is gonna be the intro. It's just sometimes when I'm making a beat, I like to have different switch ups and different parts. So one of the things that I do is if I have a sound like this, like I know I can play stuff around that. I just know it's open. So for me, I was like, okay, let me try to come up with a chord progression. And a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll come up, I'll play something, I'll play some chords, and I'll take that, and I won't keep it on the piano, but I'll, change it to another sound. So with this, what I ended up doing is I ended up playing some stuff, and I liked it. I was like, I'm gonna just keep it there, and just kind of keep it as an intro. Now, this is one of the things I was telling you about not quantizing. This is the chord progression and the pattern that I played for the intro. As you can see, it's not quantized. And the important thing about that is, especially with chords, you don't want them to be quantized because chords, they're supposed to have a texture. That's what makes them sound good, and that's what makes them sound rich, is the fact that they're not all playing at the same time. When you hit the keys, there's a human element, and they don't play all at the same time, and it almost creates a certain harmonic, and it just sounds good. It sounds warm. And for me, it's something that I'm mindful of. Now, if you're playing chords like on something like a pad or something like that, I can understand quantizing because it has a slow attack time. So it's going to take a little bit longer for it to to hear that initial sound. So I can understand having having chords quantized on pads, but piano things, piano, Rhodes, anything like that, where it's an actual, supposed to be an actual instrument. I try to not quantize. And matter of fact, I want to quantize this just to hear what it sounds like quantized, but I'm gonna play the pattern for you and I'll let you hear it. So. And for me, like when I played it, I wanted to stay in that kind of dark kind of vibe, horror kind of energy or whatever. I don't know what to call it, but yeah. So I wanted to kind of stay in that theme, and I didn't intend for it to be the intro, but it just sounded good with it. So I kept it, and I was like, all right, beat is done. Yep. And if you want to hear, let's give it a try. To hear what this piano sounds like quantized. Well, it's completely off now because I played some kind of, like, what I was playing was a little bit weird. It's yeah, my cadence was so odd. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things one of the reasons I'm not huge on quantizing. But yeah, that was the beat. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm gonna have more tutorials and beat breakdowns coming for you guys. If you guys got any questions, any requests, man, just give me a shout. Let me know. I'm gonna do my best to get to you guys. All right, peace.
21 Savage a bad guy. Yeah. Bino a bad guy.
Yeah.
I feel like Tony, I'm a bad guy. Stingy cook cause I'm a bad guy. All I hang around is bad guys. All I hang around is bad guys. You play with this shit, you get whacked. I pull up and shoot at your neck. My clip longer than my leg. I don't want fuck, I want hack. Ooh, they done got me back started. 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 Yeah, 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 they done got me back started.
I be Notoriou5 Bino, pulling up in your hood, just like boys in the hood. All red 745 with the chopper out the back window. Hang with none but them savages. All my niggas, they be having it. Long clip, them extendos. Play your ass like Nintendo. Blowing gas out the window. Getting brain from your main bitch. She know a young nigga get rich, but I still slap me a hoe, and I still kick me a dough. Make a nigga get on the floor, put a pump in the mouth and give up the dough. Now nigga off in the club with all of my thugs. We on them drugs. We don't give a fuck. Got your girl. She show me love. Cause she know I'm a bad guy and she know what's up.
I feel like Tony, I'm a bad guy. Stingy cook cause I'm a bad guy. All I hang around is bad guys. All I hang around is bad guys. You play with this shit, you get whacked. I pull up and shoot at your Slaughter King, bitch. Diamonds in my ring, bitch. I don't give a fuck about a bitch. All I wanna do is hit licks. Fuck a trapper, I take shit. Fuck your bitch, I take your bitch. I'm tryna go buy me a Wraith and shit. The chopper make you do the Matrix, bitch. No Miami, I got heat. Got a chopper on the seat. We don't play around with the beef. If he a play, we gon' eat. Yeah, nigga free the wolf. Nigga scared, nigga shook. Slaughter gang out the hook. Fold a nigga like a book. We run through these bitches. We counter these ditches. I don't got no feelings. My crew got no ceilings. Drug dealing and killing. But I prefer killing. I'm not with the talking. Young Savage a villain. I feel like Tony, I'm a bad guy. Stingy cook cause I'm a bad guy. All I hang around is bad guys. All I hang around is bad guys.